We are the Wistl Family Adventures channel. Follow us on our chaotic and crazy adventures as we navigate life in a new country. Today we rank all of the malls we've been to in Manila so far, from our least favourite to our ultimate mall. But in today's video, we have been working behind the scenes, and last time, I must admit, this is why it has got the award from us as most disappointing mall.
And this is our most favourite mall in Manila.
So welcome to the Wistl Family Adventure channel. How has your week been? It has been horribly cloudy and there is a low depression storm on its way. So hopefully that will blow over very quickly. But in today's video, we have been working behind the scenes like squirrels to put together a mega list of malls. I'll say that again. To put together a mega list of our favourite and least favourite malls in Manila. So we've been to a lot of malls. The only ones we haven't been to now are the Quezon City malls and I think the Podium Mall in Ortigas. I feel like that's it. Yeah. So we have a pretty good idea of what we like in a mall now and kind of what we're looking for, what makes a mall a good mall. So we've put together our Manila Mall Awards ceremony for you guys. This is taking a really long time. We've had to go on location. We've got a lot of B-roll stock to go, and we've also compiled our categories. So let's run through those first. So the categories are most favourite overall,
Least favourite overall.
most disappointing,
And the most underrated.
the top 3 for shopping,
Top 3 for food.
top 3 for events,
Worst layout.
best layout, and honourable mentions, the malls that didn't really fit anywhere particularly. As I said, a lot of work went into this and we really hope you enjoy this video. So let's kick it off with our most disappointing mall of all. So we are back at the Mitsukoshi Mall, which we haven't actually been to since literally the first day it opened on its soft launch. I don't know if it's still technically on its soft launch. I don't know. It still looks like there's a lot unfinished in there. And last time, I must admit, this is why it has got the award from us as most disappointing mall. It really wasn't what we expected it to be like, and we'll tell you why. So architecturally, the Mitsukoshi Mall is stunning. It does have a lot of odes to very modern Japanese kind of style. But the one thing I felt like it was really missing was that real Japanese kind of street culture, like vending machines, like anime, like a lot of things that make Japan what it is, more so than the more stylish approach. I understand why, and I understand it's supposed to be a very upscale mall, very trendy and nice place. It's in BGC, so obviously the fanciness is oozing from this place, but I really wanted to see something a little bit different from a mall, and I felt like having a Japanese theme was the perfect excuse to do that, and it just didn't work, didn't hit my mark. So the entire mall is actually covered in cherry blossoms because I think it's called Sakura. It is cherry blossom season in Japan as we speak. I think March time, all the cherry blossoms come out, and it is an extremely popular time, to visit Japan when all of the flowers come out, because it's a very short window when that actually happens, which I would obviously love to go and see, but I love the fact that they have actually done that here. It does look like they've got one of the biggest Daisos that I've actually seen so far here in the Philippines, which is quite cool. Obviously Daiso Japan is Japanese, says it in the title, but I've actually heard that the Daiso in the Philippines is a lot more expensive than the one in Japan. I think Japan is meant to be like a dollar store, whereas here in the Philippines is a lot more expensive because obviously it's being converted and moved here, so that costs a lot more for imports and things like that. You okay, baby? They have plates. There are some tiny touches of Japanese culture here. You've got the kind of figurine area, but a lot of it is just Funko Pops and not actual like traditional Japanese figurine collecting. And you've also got the fully booked that has a specific and much bigger section of Japanese anime and manga books that are all in Japanese. So if Japanese is your first language, then there's a massive section here which is really, really cool as well. So apart from those few small odes to the country itself, I really feel like it could have really ramped up the Japanese kind of street culture, the Harajuku culture, the vending machine culture. Would have been so cool to see here, and I think it would have brought in a lot more people, because I think once you base your mall at a more premium price, most people can't really come here anyway, and if they do, they're walking around to look at the atmosphere and the architecture here, which I do think is still really cool. I just think they could have really pushed it. And also, just putting the idea out there, in case you ever watch this video, an anime only cinema. What do you think? I think that's a really good idea, and I think that would bring in so many more people that are interested in that specific part of Japan and Korea and Asia in general. That's why it's a bit disappointing to me, unfortunately. It feels like a very stylish, small, it's also very small, open plan kind of hodgepodge mall. So, it's so annoying. I wish this could be so much more than it is, but it isn't, unfortunately. So I feel like I'm just going to insert a very, very quick disclaimer. This is our, if someone was to point a gun to our heads, list of malls and where we would rank them. This isn't saying that all malls are rubbish or that these certain malls aren't that great. It's just, if we had to rank them, this is where we would put them. So the next award will be going to the
most underrated mall,
which is the Ayala Circuit Mall here in Makati. One of the most underrated and non-visited malls ever. Out of everybody, I think we're the only ones that have ever really filmed there, correct me if I'm wrong. So we think the Ayala Circuit Mall is underrated because it has all of your essentials there, which not many other malls have. It's a very suburban mall. It's right in the suburban area of Makati, and it has things like getting your visas done, driving license offices, medical places. It has all the kind of errand places to go to get stuff done, especially for us as foreigners. Like other Ayala malls, they love incorporating outside space with inside space, and the Ayala Circuit Mall has a lot of outside space, and if you walk right to the back, you find the river and loads of cool and interesting little things like the amphitheatre thing that we saw, which we only discovered the last time we went. Football pitch, skate park, loads of cool things that we didn't realise are just outside the back of the Ayala Circuit Mall, and that's why it's the most underrated, because it has so much to offer and yet nobody seems to be talking about it. So the next set of awards go to the best layout and the worst layout, and I'm going to be talking about the worst layout. We have gotten lost in many a mall, but no mall compares to Glorietta, which is the bane of my existence. I don't know, every time I go there I still get lost. I still don't understand the layout. It's very complicated. There's like Glorietta 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and probably 20 different Gloriettas, and you have to really work out where you're going, and we have gotten lost every time, even though it's a mall that we are familiar with. There were a few ones that did come close to winning this award, but I feel like Glorietta has to take it because it's just so difficult. I don't understand it.
So the award for the best layout goes to SM Aura. The reason why I think SM Aura has the best layout is because it's quite a simple one. It's got like a straight layout with around 3 or 4 floors, so there's no little caveats anywhere in the building other than that straight line, and it's just a very simple layout.
Yeah. No getting lost in that one.
No.
It's a big teddy.
So we're actually back here at a mall. I think it's one of the only places we have not visited since our very first week of being here in the Philippines. And I think, was this our first ever mall apart from SM Sukat? Yeah. SM Sukat was our very first mall, very interesting experience. But the Grand Venice Mall was the second experience we'd ever had. Third would be Moa. And it was an interesting experience. And as far as malls go, now that we've got an overall better picture on what malls can be like, I think the Venice Grand Canal Mall ended up being our least favourite. Hi! So architecturally, obviously this place is basically on steroids. Obviously very reminiscent of Venice and Italy, and it's usually like vloggers and foreigners starter pack mall to come to film in. It was one of ours. It's the "Is this the Italy of the Philippines" video. You've probably seen hundreds of thousands of people come here. And I completely agree with the fact that those elements of the mall make it really unique. But I think if you stripped that away, the Grand Canal Mall ends up being super disappointing. Shop-wise and just walkability, it's a little bit tricky to navigate. It's kind of got those like Glorietta maze vibes. And there's not like a whole load of shops that entice us to come here. I think if you're gonna come here, you're coming for the atmosphere, for the structure and the architecture, for a boat ride and for a good bit of food. Yeah, we definitely had some really like fun memories when we took the gondola and the singing elements and stuff. But I think because it was around the time where we were seriously considering going home quite quickly because we just weren't seeing what everybody else was seeing in Manila. It's kind of like a bittersweet moment. This is the point where we were going back home to Paranaque with our little Airbnb and kind of looking at ourselves and going, still don't get it. I don't get what people are seeing. I don't get why people are making such a big deal about the Philippines. We don't understand why all these videos came out and that these people made this sort of stuff. And I think the Grand Canal Mall just kind of signifies that stage in our journey. So it's kind of weird being back because that was the headspace we had when we were here. We were just trying to feel out our own way here in the Philippines and trying to work it out for ourselves, and we were struggling quite badly. So it does feel really odd, but it's a nice place. I think it's nice to come and relax and eat, as I said already. But I always feel a little bit disappointed after coming here and thinking, like, that's all there is to it, really. Yeah, it's an odd feeling being back. So last time we came here, we actually didn't realise they had a padlock bridge in the Venice Grand Canal Mall. Do they have one in actual Venice?
I don't know, I've never been to Venice, but I guess they would.
Was that the one where they had to cut it down, it got so heavy, or is that Paris?
Could be, I don't know.
I can't remember. There's one in Liverpool, we saw that. But we're not seeing these ones, there's so many. So we're just in the food hall. We picked up some gelato because this is what we had last time, and actually it's the one really good thing about the Grand Venice Mall, because I really loved it and I've not had good ice cream like this since. So we came back for a cheeky cup. But the food hall also is just food options in the Venice Mall, I feel like aren't as strong as other malls, and I think that's another thing. If you know us, we love food, so we're always after some really interesting and unique concepts and good restaurants and good choices. And whilst the Venice Mall has its your standard eateries, I think last time we struggled when we came here to sit and find somewhere to eat, and I think we found the same things happened again today. And it tends to be easier in other malls, and I'm not really sure why that is. So whilst the Grand Canal Mall does have its perks like the gondola rides and the Grand Canal, obviously that is what brings people here. I think that part of it's really great, but I think that's the only thing you really do come here for. So once you've done it once, the Grand Canal Mall doesn't really serve much more of a purpose, and that's why it's our least favourite. I think if it had a lot more to it alongside the canal part, it would be perfect and it'd be such a cool place to keep coming back to, but I feel like now we've done it twice, I feel like that's it for us. So next comes our Trio Awards. Yes, we've made this a little bit complicated, but just keep rolling with me here. So these are our top threes of 3 categories, so 9 in total. And some of the malls will obviously cross over because some malls are really good in some ways and not so good in other ways. So just a humble reminder that there will be a few repeats of malls, but that's because these are the categories we think they are the best at. So I'm going to start with the 3 best malls for shopping, and they are the Mall of Asia, obviously, the Mega Mall, and the Landmark. Now I know the Landmark is more of a department store than a mall, but it's still pretty big in terms of department stores, and it offers quite a wide variety of goods for you to shop with. So those are our favorites for shopping. They all provide a lot of different stores. Obviously the Mega Mall and MOA are 2 of the biggest malls here in the Philippines, so you're gonna get the best shops, the most shops. A lot of American shops are opening up in MOA at the moment as we speak, and the Mega Mall blew me away a little bit because the amount of choice in there was incredible. So if you're really going for a shopping experience and you need to get things, or you need to go Christmas shopping or birthday shopping, those are the best malls to go to if you really are there to shop.
So our top 3 for food are Rockwell, because of it has the grid, and also it has the ground floor, which has many restaurants, fancy and non-fancy. The second one is Mega Mall, as there's a plethora, I got that word from Bex, of different restaurants and so many to choose from.
Yeah, they don't call it the Mega Mall for nothing, eh?
And the third one has to be Greenbelt. If you want to go for a really nice meal in the lovely surroundings, the Greenbelt wins it there.
And the top 3 winners of the events category, so this is events that are held in the malls and which ones are the best for these kinds of things, are Ayala Manila Bay, which is a relatively new mall. Again, not many people have ever been there or filmed there. We've actually been there like 3 times, and they've always got some really interesting events on. And again, being an Ayala mall, it's a really beautiful mall to go to because they mix inside space and outside space impeccably well. There's also Market, one of the best places for singing events, sticker events, any kind of event. Market has always got something on, so we only have to drive like 10 minutes down the road to go out and do something, and half the time all of these events are usually free, which makes it even better, so you can even just walk around and look at what's going on or listen to some awesome music, and Market has been fantastic for that. And the third one is Glorietta. Glorietta is usually kind of like Market, but not as often. So Glorietta will have events on, and it's the one place in Makati that really does do these events, like the sticker events and the music events, etc. We went to see the Sound of Music for Kev's birthday. We recently went to a sticky expo that was held there, and yeah, Market's like an Ayala Manila Bay, like the best. But if you want to be local, then Glorietta also does amazing events as well. And these are some of the honourable mentions before we unveil our top favourite mall of all time. These ones just fit nowhere really. We didn't really have a place for them. We've been there, but they didn't really, do much for us. And they are Uptown Mall. Uptown Mall's fine, but it doesn't do anything for us. We don't go there on purpose to shop or eat or anything, so it's in the honourable mentions list. Same goes for Century Mall. They do some events, but in terms of like their food and shops, because it's a mall that got heavily targeted by the pandemic and unfortunately lost a lot of its shopping kind of places, a lot of the floors are pretty desolate. Unfortunately, it goes into the honourable mentions, as in we've been there, but it doesn't do much for us. And lastly is the Shangri-La Mall. Very posh, very fancy, a beautiful layout, but we can't really do much there because it's so expensive. It's really beautiful and I would implore you to visit at least once. But unless you've got a fantastic bank account, there's not really much need to go again.
And this is our most favourite mall in Manila.
So some of you may have guessed what our ultimate favourite overall mall is, and that is, drumroll, Rockwell Mall. Now it already won best top 3 for food. It is a great place for food. The Grid is one of my favourite places to go to eat. We don't go often, but when we do, we're always spoilt for choice. But the Rockwell Mall overall just has a general great vibe. It's not so busy like some of the bigger malls where you're always feeling like there's just too many people. It's quiet enough. There's enough shops. There's a lot of hobby shops that we really enjoy going into, like the art bar and some of the other places as well. It's got a great Fully Booked, one of our favourite bookshops. And it's just really nice. The layout's good, the aircon's good. It's just overall really, really good. So a lot of people associate the Rockwell Mall with being a very fancy place to be, a very expensive mall. But actually, we know ones that have more high-end shops than Rockwell. Rockwell's a great balance of both, where you've got some high-end places and also some really affordable places as well. It's a nice mixture of the two. So I know a lot of you will be like, well, of course you've chosen one of the most fanciest. But actually, there are far fancier in Manila that we actually don't like as much as here. And here, you don't have things like Gucci or Louis Vuitton or any of that stuff. It's very interesting and unique kind of indie brands and really interesting places to look at. That's probably why we like it the most. Another really nice point about Rockwell that I think a lot of people miss is actually the architecture. It's really very interesting. It's kind of like, it's very old world, a little bit Art Deco themed. It's really beautiful in here. It's all stone. You've got these huge pillars and columns, and the lights are always really interesting, as well as the escalators. A lot of people point out how interesting the escalators here are, and they are really unique. It's a really unique lit place, and when it's Christmas time, oh, I think Rockwell beat everybody on their decorations. They were beautiful, very traditional, very classic. And I think that's a big point that people miss about the Power Plant Mall, because from the outside, it doesn't look as great as it does on the inside. Hobby shops is Fully Booked. The best Fully Booked, agreeably, is in BGC, but the second best store is actually in Rockwell. It's quite big. There's a lot in here. There's a lot of things that we really love, like the manga section and the art book section, which one day I will collect every single art book. One day. They are so beautiful, and every time I come in here I just stare at them. They also have like really good notebooks and sketchbooks and things that are really good value for money, which we get the kids on occasion. And it's just a really nice bookshop. Really reminds me of kind of Waterstones from the UK, but actually I feel like it's better. Fully Booked is definitely better, and also the books are slightly cheaper here in the Philippines. But yeah, Fully Booked, one of our top favourite stores, and the second best one is here in Rockwell. Some other favourites of ours are Art Bar, which is just behind me, and also Common Room, which has some really interesting hobby and handmade gifts, items, which are always really interesting. They change it quite often, so whenever you go in there, it's always different. But these are smaller shops. They're not as big as ones we've been to before, by any means. Someone's got a trolley, it's very loud. But they are one of our favourite places to go because they're just really interesting to see people's work and support kind of smaller, unique indie businesses. And Art Bar is just lovely because obviously I'm an art person. I love artwork, I love making art, and I love painting. It is expensive. I haven't yet to buy anything from Art Bar yet, but I always love going in there because it makes me feel all mall inspired. So one of our favourite things to do in Rockwell and in most malls is eat, and we love really trendy and interesting, unique food places. We always have. If you didn't know, Kev's the chef. I've worked in the food industry with him for a very long time. It's our passion. We love food. We love trying food. We love seeking out interesting places. And the grid was something that really blew us away when we first came here. It's at the second floor of Rockwell Mall, and it has 20 odd different very small vendors, but they all introduce and offer a lot. We had tacos here before and some really interesting chicken, and they have some new places as well, so we're just going to walk around and check out some of the new ones, but definitely our favourite place in Rockwell to be. As well as food choices in the grid, there's also like 100 different restaurants on the lower grounds of the whole mall. Right down the bottom, there's also Marketplace, a supermarket. We don't actually shop at Marketplace because it's more like Waitrose prices in the UK, and we never went there either. So it's got that as well if you are interested, but it's got a really cool food scene down at the bottom. It's got like budget places like Jollibee and KFC and Kenny Rogers, but it also has the grid, which is preferably where I like to go, but you've also got all of this as well.
And to finally represent Rockwell, I know they've got other branches around in other malls, but it has a deli by Shelley. And you know how much I like the deli by Shelley.
He loves the deli sandwich, he does.
It's a good one.
They are good, but they are
Pricey.
They are cha-ching!
But yeah, it makes Rockwell even better.
So that is why the Rockwell Mall is our favourite. It's not too busy, there's a good selection of different stores for different budgets. The Grid food hall is our favourite place ever. You've got all the food at the bottom to explore. We haven't even touched on the fact that the Rockwell lights light up every weekend, which makes it such a spectacular kind of focal point of Manila. But the moment we first came to Rockwell, we knew it was kind of like, wow, this is actually a really nice place and a really good mall for us. It's got hobby shops that we enjoy, and honestly we just walk around. We don't buy anything, we don't always come to eat. It's just a lovely place to get out of the sun or come and do something and to just walk around. It's a great place, and that is why the Rockwell Power Plant Mall has been awarded our favourite overall mall here in Manila. So how did you think the awards went tonight?
Good.
So Elowen, how did you feel the award ceremony went?
Good.
And what was your favourite mall in the end?
I like Greenbelt.
Greenbelt. Now Greenbelt did win Best for Food, but it didn't come in at the top for Best Ever Mall. Are you disappointed by that? So Harry, were you surprised that the Mitsukoshi Mall won Most Disappointing?
No. My favourite mall is Greenbelt as well.
Ah, well that one did not win the most favourite. It was Rockwell. How'd you feel about that?
I feel like Rockwell should have come second.
So that concludes the Wistl Family Mall Award ceremony for today. We hope you really enjoyed it. We really enjoyed making it and making up our own categories and thinking into extreme depths about some of these malls and what they are the best at and some of our least favourite. Obviously, if some of your favourites end up being our least favourites, then please don't get offended. Everybody is entitled to an opinion, and we'd love to know what your favourite and least favourite mall is down below in the comment section. If you want to watch all of our adventures in malls, we will link above the playlist of all the malls we've ever been to, and we definitely can't wait to see some more. As I said earlier, I don't think we've got many more to visit, but it's still always really exciting to check a new one out. So we really hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching yet again, and Salamat po. Until the next one, we'll see you then. Bye.